Hey there, this is Robin Coates. Welcome to this episode of The Suede Sofa. We've talked about our purpose, and, as believers of Christ, we all share the same general purpose, and that is to know Christ, to make him known, and to bring God glory. And then from there, we all have individual assignments and purposes, if you would, kind of like a secondary purpose. But we all share that main purpose of knowing Christ, making him known, and bringing him glory. Well, when you look at that, that can seem so overwhelming. Maybe you read through the Bible and you see all these commands and you feel overwhelmed, like, oh my goodness, I am trying to do all these things and my behavior is off in so many different areas. It can be so overwhelming, you just feel like giving up. So how do we combat this? Well, there is a principle in the Bible, and we see it actually going all through Scripture. But I'm going to read you a verse from Luke 16:10 from the NLT version. And it says this, it says, if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. You know what? In the kingdom, it starts with being faithful in the little things. And so what I'm going to give you today is I'm going to give you a framework that I've created. If it's helpful to you, use it. If it's not, that's okay. Find something that does work for you. But we're going to go through this framework today. And if you're interested in seeing it, I'll put it in the show notes. So the low-hanging fruit, I call it the low-hanging fruit principle. And imagine this. Imagine that you wanted to make an apple pie, a peach pie, and in your backyard, you had a tree full of whichever those fruits you prefer, apples or peaches. And so what approach would you take? What would be your strategy? Would you go into the garage and grab your ladder and drag it out to the backyard and climb up to the top of the tree and pick fruit from the top of the tree? Okay, I know this is a rhetorical question. That would probably not be your approach. You most likely would just walk out to your backyard and pick the fruit within your reach, the low-hanging fruit. Well, you know what? In our relationship and in our walk with God and in the discipleship journey, that is the approach that we want to take. We want to start being faithful with the little things, the low-hanging fruit. I also like to refer to this as the on-ramp. Like when you think of getting on to, say, the interstate and you have a destination, somewhere you want to go, there's not tons of access points. Like you can't just get on the interstate anywhere you want to. You got to get on an on-ramp. And that's all we're looking for. We're looking for, like, what's the on-ramp that's going to kind of get the momentum? This is the momentum maker. This is what helps us start building the momentum. That's what we're looking for here. So I'm going to give you what I call the 4-step low-hanging fruit strategy. And this is going to help you identify your low-hanging fruit in any area. So let's say that you want to grow in your relationship with God, and you know that reading the Word, being in the Word, being in prayer, living a surrendered life having a surrendered heart. Let's say you are going to focus on the area of like being in the Word. So I'm going to share with you the 4-step low-hanging fruit strategy. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start with, what is an action? What is your most leveraged action you can do that is going to help you get on that interstate? It is your on-ramp, but it's going to be little. Now, how do you know if it qualifies for being little? Well, you know what? I've got a filter. I'm glad you asked. I've got a little filter that you can use. It's a 4-step. So here's what it is. Now we're going to use the word STEP, S-T-E-P. And we are going to make sure that whatever our action is, that it meets the criteria of these 4 steps. Okay. So let's pick something. Let's pick an activity. Like, let's say we're going to start developing the habit of spending time with with Jesus every single day. Okay, that is our goal. That is a habit. And we got to figure out what action can I take every day that I can be consistent in, because this is what results in momentum, is us being consistent. And this is where habits are created, by us being consistent. This is also how we come to know Jesus, by spending time with him regularly. Okay, so the first letter, STEP, stands for something that is simple. It's at the end of the day, it is so clear cut that either you can say, yes, I did it, or no, I did. You can have a checkbox. I am a checkbox gal. If you are, you'll appreciate this, but you may not be, and that's totally okay too. But at the end of the day, you can check a box, yes, I did it, or no, I didn't. So if I pick the activity, if I say, I want to read one Bible verse a day, yeah, that's really easy. At the end of the day, did I read it? Yes, I did, or no, I didn't. Okay, so that is the first step. Make sure that it is simple. The second criteria stands for it's T in STEP, and that stands for time sensitive, something that you can begin doing immediately. So I want to be in the Word, and can I read a Bible verse today? Absolutely. Now, what if I said, okay, I want to be in the Word, and I'm going to make my goal something like, I want to go to some retreat where I'm going to learn about, I don't know, it's going to be a retreat that focuses on spending time with God and learning how to read the Bible or something like that. But this is something that I can't begin doing immediately because it's not scheduled for 2 or 3 months down the road. That would not qualify as meeting the criteria. The third criteria we want is the E in the word STEP, and that stands for easy in execution. So it's easy to follow through, but it's also easy in contemplation. It's easy on the mind, because when you're creating habits, you do not want your brain to sense like big time resistance, because if it does, it's going to sabotage you. This is just, if you study habits, you know that your brain, anytime it senses that there's threat, it will sabotage your efforts because it's trying to protect you. So we want something that is so simple that our brain will be like, sure, you can do that. In fact, if anything, it'll be like, that is so insignificant, that won't even count. And that's one way you'll know if it's small enough. If it's so easy that it flies under the radar, your brain is like, fine, that's fine, you can do that. And the fourth criteria is that P in the word STEP, and it stands for progressive, something that you can begin scaling. So if I say, I'm going to read one Bible verse a day, is that something I can scale? Absolutely. Maybe week 2, you read 2 verses, or maybe you're reading a chapter at the end of the month. Okay, so that is progressive. So today's action step, I've given you an action step if you want one, would be to identify one habit in your walk with Jesus in this discipleship pathway. Identify one habit that you can begin working on and find your low-hanging fruit action. Like, what's something that you can begin doing today, and try it. Start it today. And if the action you pick after a couple of days, you're not following through on it, then change up the action if you need to. But what you want to do is you want to be consistent. You want to string the days together, because it's that consistency which will help you develop the habit, and it'll help you in the discipleship process. So thank you for being here with this episode, and we'll see you in the next episode.